Unless Bitcoin dumps today, we will be closing the month of September green. And every single time that Bitcoin has closed the month of September green since 2013, we saw an even greener October. In today's video, we'll be talking about this, going over the last leg of this bull market cycle and what I think could be happening as we see the rotation from Bitcoin into altcoins. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. As per this Bitcoin monthly returns table, you can see that every single time that we had a green September for Bitcoin, October was even more green. Take a look at this. 2013 here, you can see that we had a red September, October was still green. Then we had 2014, red, September 2015, green, even greener. September 2016, green, even greener. And you can see that this continues. Generally speaking though, October is one of the more bullish months for Bitcoin. And you can see that over the past few years, this has also indeed been the case. We saw in 2023, 4% for Bitcoin in September, 28.5% in October. Then last year, 7.26% in September and 11% in October. This year, it looks like we're going to be closing September in the green, which should tell us that we will likely have a green October. That is at least my base case. Now, some of you might be confused if you've been watching the channel because, as I shared, I'm not that convinced that the low is in for Bitcoin. But remember, we can dump into the month opening only to move much higher afterwards. And as I prepare myself and you for the last leg of this bull market cycle, we will also be touching on how Bitcoin dominance will likely play out. But first, I want to cover the Bitcoin price action. You can see that Bitcoin actually wicked to just below $115,000 since this move from the low. Now, we were right at that bull market support band, which made sense to hold as support, but I am still not that convinced that the bottom is officially in. And I'll go over that in today's video as well. But what I want you to pay attention to is we need to get daily closes above this level over here. And I talked about it in a previous video, but right here, to me, this is a crucial zone for Bitcoin to get back above and hold as support. And as per yesterday's video, this is actually when I would start looking to go long, irrespective of whether or not we hit the bottom. But you can see we got the wick above and now it looks like we are rejecting. So I still think that we have a very high probability to target this low once more. I know that might sound crazy since this move from the bottom, but ultimately I am still in my short Bitcoin position, which I've continued to hold, although we did secure some very nice profits. And I also pointed this out in my free premium group. This is the zone to get rejected if we were to get rejected here. I would not be going aggressively long quite yet. Wait for the market to play out and show its hand. This is how a lot of people can get wrecked. And speaking of people getting wrecked, before we made this move down, there was a lot more cumulative long liquidation leverage in the market. And now you can see that since we made this move and got a little bit of a bounce, everyone is continuing to pile into longs. This is a cause for concern from my perspective. There is now officially more cumulative long liquidation leverage in the market once more. Remember what I said, the true reversal typically begins when we get over 3 times more cumulative long or short liquidation leverage in the market, depending on which direction we're going to go. So because this is relatively even and there's technically a little bit more cumulative long liquidation leverage in the market, and we also know that this move from Bitcoin was very corrective, not impulsive, I'm not actually looking to go long quite yet. The confirmation level that I want to see is holding above this zone, ideally call it $115,000 on multiple daily closes. We do that, I will consider going long, targeting new all-time highs. However, you can see that we did get a little bit of a rejection here, and so I would be a little bit cautious. That's also why I've continued to hold my Bitcoin short position, and I'm also in my Bitcoin dominance long position. I think that irrespective of what happens to Bitcoin here, we will absolutely fly in terms of Bitcoin dominance. And that brings up the other topic that I wanted to address in today's video. I don't think the bull market is over, but I do think that if we want to have a proper season where altcoins can really outperform Bitcoin, we want to see Bitcoin start by leading the way. And what I mean by this is Bitcoin moves up, then it distributes, then we get altcoin season. Right now, I think that the altcoin season calls are still too premature since we got a bounce from this low over here, which we've highlighted on the channel time and time again. I think that the easiest path for Bitcoin dominance from here at least is up, irrespective of where Bitcoin goes in terms of price. So in a perfect world here, Bitcoin dominance continues to climb as Bitcoin continues to shake out the rest of the market. We go and we tap into these 107K lows. Maybe we wick a little bit lower. Then we get the reversal. Bitcoin continues to lead the way. And as we get this reversal, Bitcoin dominance continues to increase. And then we start distributing, and then the rest of the altcoin market runs. Speaking of altcoins, how many people have told you that altcoin season has already started and that you should panic and jump into altcoins? Well, take a look at the social risk. We are now at absolute zero. What does this mean? It means that retail is simply not interested in the crypto market. Now, this is usually a good measure as to how explosive the moves for altcoins can be. Typically, when social risk is extremely high, it means there's a lot of attention across social media, across exchanges, across layer ones, across channels such as myself. There's a lot more views at that point in the cycle. And that is when altcoins are absolutely flying, when social risk is sky high. You can see that we're right at zero. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. No one is paying attention to altcoins, and this has clearly been a very institutional driven crypto cycle. That's why most of my spot holdings are still in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and yes, I do have stable coins ready in case we get a deeper pullback. And to be perfectly clear once more though, this is still my path. We had the move up. I still think that down is in progress despite this bounce from the low. And I think that right now they're baiting a lot of longs in the market before we end up going lower and breaking this level, grabbing the liquidity to the downside. And it clearly worked. Since this move up, starting on Sunday essentially, a lot of people piled into longs as I showed you. And so I'm not that convinced that the bottom is in. However, if we start to reclaim this level, as I said, call it $115,000, then I do think we have a chance to move much, much higher from there. A reclaim would be daily closes above that level. Until then, I am not willing to go aggressively long with a big position as I did with my Bitcoin short. And as we wrap up this quick video, you can see that pre-markets are indeed red today, but it's not that big of a deal. We've seen stocks and gold continue to make all-time highs while crypto continues to struggle. I do think that the rotation will happen, but I think we need to be a little bit patient here. And I also just quickly wanted to touch on the fact that we will have the JOLTS job opening data today. Very, very important data to come out. And the last thing on the agenda here, there is a lot of talk about the US government potentially shutting down. And if this were to be the case, the Bureau of Labor Statistics says it will not release economic data, including the jobs report, on Friday. So this could be quite interesting. We do know that historically, when the government shuts down, the odds are actually in our favor for stocks and prices overall to increase in a short period of time. So let's see how this plays out. But ultimately, we need to also remember this. I want to end the video on this because this speaks to what I've been talking about on the channel time and time again. Accounts on crypto Twitter will tell you that leverage is too risky and then proceed to hold a spot bag through a 95% drawdown. This exemplifies what I've been saying. If you want to make profits in this market, you need to be actively trading it, getting into positions, getting out of positions with profits, and you're not stuck just holding an altcoin. This is how I've been operating in this market. My spot bag limited to Bitcoin and Ethereum, and honestly, I've been trading this market. So if you want to join me and know my exact personal trade setups, remember you do have that first link in my description down below. All you need to do is essentially click this link and then it'll bring you to this page. Then you click send message, and on Telegram, you DM me the word premium, and I would be happy to onboard you into my free premium trading group. This is essentially my own personal trade setups and how I am operating in this market completely for free. The only requirement is that you sign up with one of my affiliate exchange links, whether that's Bluffin or Weeks, as you can see the links in the description down below, and you start trading on there. I'll see you inside. And that sums up today's quick video. Honestly, not much has changed. We got a little bit of a move to the upside, but I am being extremely patient with my positioning. Now, I still think we're gonna have another last leg to this bull market cycle, but I saw a lot of people start piling into longs, thinking that 108.5 is the bottom. Only time will tell, and if we reclaim higher levels, I would be willing to go long. But for now, in terms of trading, I am essentially just sitting on my hands. Now, if September closes green, it is highly likely that October closes even more green, despite the fact that we may tag the lows before moving higher for the last leg of this bull market cycle. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.